What we're seeing right now is a wave of new people that are saying, screw the banking system, let's create our own version. You're seeing person-to-person lending. You all know that I own a private equity company called Metal Monkey Private Equity. Our latest investment is in a startup person-to-person bank.
It's fair to say that you've really changed the way banking's done on two separate occasions. If you were to hazard a guess of what the third big shift or the third big change would be in banking, what do you foresee in the future that bankers might see as impossible right now?
Well, I still think developing technology is going to make a really big difference. Maybe the biggest change we're going to see is non-bank institutions coming in and taking a lot of that business, using social networking and technologies like peer-to-peer, which are, I think, a big threat to the way banks operate. So I think we're much more seeing threats to the bank's business model.
I set up with Penny, my wife, the first social network, business-to-business social network, 1998, called Academy, 600,000 members. We got approached by 3 banks to acquire Academy. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned this to Simon. Now, banks were interested in acquiring Academy to see if they could create some kind of, for want of a better phrase, social bank.
Going into a branch in order to bank. There's no market for that in the future. Technology will take that away. Technology will completely take that need away. All you need to do is put together the person that wants to borrow with the person that wants to lend, and also the technology that's required in order to do that will be the exact acquisition targets of the banks once they have to reform the way they create money.
Because I've done both the banks that were built from scratch on brand new money in the last 100 and something years, I probably know 80% of the suppliers of everything you ever want to build a retail bank.
We've got a 2.5 million database that's growing at 1,000 a week. Our invitation database is growing at about 10,000 a day now. We've got a big database, we've got a big machine.
A bank immediately implies huge obligations and at least 50 million in capital. And probably 2 years just to do your first transaction. Yeah. Peer-to-peer, we can have a game in, say, a month's time.
So I mentioned this to Simon 6-9 months ago, maybe last summer. And he said, oh, I'm working on some stuff and there's some people I'd like you to meet.
We've talked about peer-to-peer, but I've already designed 3 different markets to attack with that, 3 different products.
Having talked to the guys at Facebook, I know they've attempted to acquire Prosper.com and LendingClub.com, and I know Mark Zuckerberg's been to meet the CEOs himself, because I know the CEOs. So I thought, it's going through his mind to turn Facebook into some kind of bank.
Like any other big incumbent, they tend to dismiss what's out there when it first gets out there. Dismiss Facebook when it got out there, certainly dismiss peer-to-peer lending. So while they are sort of institutionally more open, like any other big company, they're liable to dismiss new stuff when it first starts.
There's no need for the interest rates that are charged at banks right now. That's just factoring in all the overhead and cost of running branches and all the other stuff. But they also get a 100 billion subsidy a year from having the authority to create money, which is a bit of an unfair advantage. But when that is taken away, you're going to see this wave of new banks without the subsidy that are going to be the future of where I see you as the next generation of banking and finance leaders should be pointing and moving in that direction.
You look at what other people have spent to get just to the point where we are. I mean, we could launch in a month.
But if you plug your piece into our piece, you get the P2P piece and you get the social piece.
I know that a peer-to-peer lending solution has potential, well, I know who they are, to be backed by a government institution.
I mean, I've presented to 200 universities on banking reform and the issues with banking. All people that originally wanted to go into investment banks that are now deciding that they want to be a part of something alternative banking. And they want to be a part of banking reform, and they understand a lot of the issues.
I think person-to-person lending is a real threat. My only question is when, and what generation of it is the one that's going to make a difference. First generation didn't really make a difference. We're seeing second generation peer-to-peer emerge now. Second or third generation peer-to-peer lending. I think it's not only a threat to banks, it's a threat to every financial services business.
So this is the future: alternative banking, ethical banking, person-to-person lending. You're going to see over the next 10 years some significant changes.